Everybody to Mystics MMOs. I'm your host, Mystic Raven. All right, so I have been back at Guild Wars 2 for a couple days now, and I'm really glad I am back because in the past I wasn't a content creator, so this gives me the opportunity to now provide some builds for a great PvP game, and I'm really happy with this build. It has served me very well thus far. I don't know if anybody has a similar build out there. I don't watch a lot of content creators, so I'll just get into it. This is Juggernaut. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so this is going to be a sword, axe, dual wield with a rifle build, right? We're going to be using on the dual wield side, we're going to use the Sigil of Battle. We're also going to use the Sigil of Exposure. Really nice because your next attack after you swap to this weapon while in combat inflicts 5 stacks of vulnerability. So when you're switching between the rifle to this, you're going to get that nice stack of vulnerability. Really comes in handy when you're closing that gap, and I'm going to explain how to do that. Also, we're going the rifle. We're going to use the Sigil Battle once again for PvP. Gain 4 stacks when we swap to this weapon. So we're going to have our switch game pretty high intense when we can do that and do such. Also, we're going to be using Sigil of Agility. This gives us swiftness for 2 seconds. This just gives us heavy armor. Warriors are really slow. So with the rifle, we just get a little bit of a boost to, be able to chase them down a little bit better. But if you want to use a different sigil, by all means, have at it. I'm going to be using the Rune of Strength. This is really nice. It gives me 25% power, 10% might duration, 50% power, 15% might duration, 25% chance when struck to gain might for 5 seconds, 100% power, 20% might duration, 5% damage while under the effects of might. Now, with that being said, I'm going to use the Avatar Amulet. Now, why am I going to use this? Well, it's simple. It's going to give me power. It's going to give me precision. It's going to give me vitality. But here's the biggie. Healing power. I need to sustain, right? Because when I close, I need to be able to heal myself and keep in that pocket a little bit better. So that's why I opted to use this amulet instead. Base stats look pretty good. So I'm really happy with this. We have a nice armor rating. We got pretty good toughness. We have a good amount of health sitting at 27,000. Really nice. Our power is a little low, but keep in mind, we're sacrificing some of that power for sustainability. So just a heads up. Specializations. We're going to go arms, we're going to go strength, and we're going to go discipline. Now, arms. We're going to opt for the Signet Mastery. It's going to reduce recharge and grant a stacking ferocity boon on us. Cast Lesser Signet of Might when striking a foe below the health threshold. Now keep in mind, this is where I want you to keep the might in perspective. All right? Okay, we're going to get Deep Strikes. Passive, gain condition damage when you have Fury. We want Blade Master. So we're going to be using a sword and axe. So Blade Master is going to reduce the recharge and conditions they inflict. Inflict gain increased duration. So it's going to reduce the recharge rate of our sword abilities. Okay, Bloodlust. We have a chance to inflict bleeding on critical hits, and bleeds that you apply last longer. Plus, we want that dual wield. Attack speed is increased when wielding a main hand weapon in your offhand. Because keep in mind, we're using the axe. We're using sword and axe. All right. Strength. We're going to go with use restorative strength. Using a heal skill grants might. So when we heal ourselves, what are we doing? We're applying a might buff to ourselves. Hence, why this build works out really nice, and that's why I called it the Juggernaut. The more damage, damage I'm taking, I'm going to heal, and then of course I'm going to get might. That's going to increase my damage. Great Fortitude. Gain vitality based on a percentage of your power. No doubt why I have that. I want to be able to, I'm going to be in that pocket, so I want to get the vitality boost. Okay. Might makes right. Gain health and endurance whenever you apply might to yourself. So anytime I get might, I'm getting a heal on top of this. That's really, really relevant with this build. So every time I'm going to get might, I'm going to get a little small heal out from that. So every time might stacks, I'm getting healed. Okay, pretty self-explanatory. Discipline, we're going to get that versatile rage, gain adrenaline on weapon swap. Crack shot. Now remember, we're going to be using rifle, right? So that's why we're going with discipline. Base rifle and harpoon gun shots gain bonus adrenaline. Rifle and harpoon gun skills gain reduced recharge. Okay? We're also going to get that fast hands. Weapon swapping recharges faster. Remember, I told you, we're going to play our switch a lot faster with this build. So that's passive comes in handy. Pun intended. Okay, moving on. Prowler's recovery. Remove conditions when you swap weapons. So remember, when we swap weapons, we're going to remove some condition. Well, one condition. Okay, versatile power. Gain might on weapon swap. Now remember what we're doing here. We gain health when we gain might. When we swap, we gain might. So this is all stacking up the might and giving us this boost. So once again, comes in really handy. Axe mastery. So we're using a sword and we're going to be using the axe. Axe is going to be in our offhand. Get ferocity while wielding an axe in either hand. Axe skills gain reduced recharge and grants adrenaline when you critically strike with one. All right, pretty basic. Okay, now let's go with the skills. Dual wield bard is our auto attack. Severe artery, bleed your foe with the slash. Okay, then we have our gap closer, savage leap. I love this ability with this build. So I'm going to lunge at my foe and strike them with the sword. It's going to cripple them. It also has a combat finisher of leap. Also, we're going to use final thrust. Final thrust has a cast to it, so you really want to make sure you're on top of your target when you initiate this. But it's going to go what? With 6 bleeding, so 1,545 damage. All right, really like this. Dual strikes really fast. Just goes ahead, strikes them down with both weapons. Gain quickness for each strike hit. That keeps our momentum moving. All right, and then when we gap close, when I gap close, depending on how many targets, I like to use the whirling axe. Spin and attack nearby foes. You can move while spinning. Really, really good. Okay, then when we come over to the rifle bar, we're going to be using Fierce Shot. Right, that's pretty much set. So Fierce Shot, Aim Shot, really like this. Volley. Volley's very powerful, especially when we apply our buff. Okay, then we have a counterplay on our 4 and 5 bar, our 4 and 5. We are going to be using Brutal Shot, so if they get in close and we need to evade, we're going to hit this, it's going to counter us back. But sometimes we don't want to use that right away. One of the biggest things is if I'm if somebody gets on top of me, I love to use rifle butt. I get to push my foe backwards with the rifle. Knocks them back. Bam! Goes ahead, knocks back up to 3 targets. Smack them backwards. Hit that kill shot with the F1 sometimes. So when we have enough adrenaline, we can utilize the kill shot. And the kill shot comes in so handy in the most crucial moments. Really, really like that. And then, of course, our F1 for our adrenaline is Flurry, which is our burst. Really, really nice. It's pretty good. It has an AoE effect. I really like that. Where if I need an AoE, I go with that. If I go single target, I go with the kill shot. Okay, we're going to go with our class-based abilities. We're going to use the Healing Signet. It's going to regenerate health, heals yourself, and grants yourself resistance. Really, really nice. And plus, it applies the might buff. Really, really cool. So I'll sometimes wait to use this as a heal and then grab that might buff. It really it just works out great. Okay, Shout for great justice. Grant fury and might to yourself and allies. Once again, we're going to focus on applying the might, right? And it's also going to give us that fury buff. Really, really nice. And it's just a boost that it applies to our party members as well. Big, big, big one here. Endure pain. Take no damage from attacks, but you're still susceptible to conditions and control effects. That's very important to remember. But what I really like about this, besides taking no damage, if I do get CC'd and I get stunned, this will also break stuns. So definitely comes in handy. Okay, I'm going to also use a Doyak Signet. reduces incoming damage, so we're going to get that stability buff. Also, we're going to get Signet Active, heal yourself, and gain the stability. Really, really nice. So we get the toughness. We also get another break. So we have 2 forms of break here between Endure Pain and the Doyak Signet. Now, this is the big one, Rampage. When I take this, I'm getting all sorts of buffs here. So I'm going to get stability, I'm going to get swiftness, I can apply the crippled, the chilled effect, and I'm going to get reduced damage of 25%. This is really badass. So when I go ahead and I start hitting this, I hit the number 5, I stomp them, I leap and stomp them, and I just go to town. Really, really nice setup here. It works for me. I mean, this might not be your play style, but for me, if you want a range game with melee and you want counterplay, this build works out great because rifle is going to give us that counterplay, going to give us that range capability. We're going to be able to swap out, close the gap, and deal a significant amount of damage and still be able to maintain survivability in the process. So I'm really, really enjoying that. So I can't wait to hear from you guys. If anybody has any questions or comments, please post below. Once again, I'm Mystic Raven. This is Mystic's MMOs. Thank you guys for watching. And once again and always, have a nice day.